Winner by TKO, Tyrone Trice.
His announcement before the fight, and he has certainly swayed the crowd.
Middleweight title. Gerald McCullum had a heart problem. He didn't want to fight me, so I fought this young man here. But I'm making a $50,000 bet with James Toney that I will knock him out in less than 10 rounds anytime he wants it.
Well, this is a Detroit fighter.
Any other middleweight.
And Tony is here at ringside. Matter of fact, Tony is now coming into the ring. And he will have equal time.
Bring your ass, Tyrone. We can get busy right now.
Tony, who is the IBF champion, he has a date, the rematch with Mike McCallum coming up.
Champion,
Unfortunately, Joe Sowerby, the referee, is not into this. He apparently is the only one who is not.
Yeah, I thought we could do it, but now let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know, and you were the first guy that's got an interview on this.
Okay.
That night, we got hit with tickets for inciting a riot because I had a lot of guys from Detroit, and James had a lot of guys from wherever he was, Lansing or whatever.
Right.
Now, first of all, James Toney never was from Detroit. He never came to Detroit and trained with us because we would run his ass away. You know, he was never from Detroit at all. That night, and back in the back of the by the dressing room, James Toney pulled a M16 out on me.
Wow.
An M16 rifle with a rocket launcher.
Wow.
I'm like, what the hell? So I told him, I said, you can't never come back to Detroit. So I'm going to have my guys get you.
People still ask, why don't you do interviews no more? Well, if I'm going to do interviews, I'm not going to interview a lot of the modern day boxers. I'm not. I'm going back to what drew me into the sport, to them fighters. R.I.P Tyrone Trice. If you want the full version of his altercation with James Toney, which was an exclusive, it's in the subscription box. There's about 4 or 5, 6 parts to the video. Tyrone passed away in October. I remember doing the interview 10 years ago, and there were people in the comment section, oh, was he a champion? No. He wasn't shit then and all this crap there, but you know, they didn't see the IBF welterweight title fight with Simon Brown. One of the best welterweight title fights of all time. A 15-rounder. They didn't see that. 33 knockouts in 43 wins, 10 losses. Great puncher, great to watch, good talker, great character. Very popular out in France where he had a lot of fights. I believe he worked with Louis Acaris, who was promoting back then. And he wanted to hook back up with him. I remember that. Acaris himself was a European champion. People don't remember all that stuff there. You know, the fact that he granted me time for an interview, these are the names that drew me into boxing. So it means a lot to me. It might not mean a lot to others, but it is my journey. You know what I mean? If you're on board, this is what I'm interested in. It might not be what a lot of other people are interested in, but it's what I'm interested in. Getting interviews with the likes of him, Pinklon Thomas, Reggie Johnson. Oh, my days were made making videos on this channel. I was so close to securing the Marvin Hagler interview. I wasn't sure if it was his real Twitter account, and he followed me, DM'd me, and said, yeah, it was going to happen. It was the real account. Unfortunately, it didn't manifest. But R.I.P. Marvin. R.I.P. Tyrone Trice. So let's talk about the flyweight division. Julio Martinez. Martinez was scheduled to defend his WBC 112-pound title. And I believe what would be Showtime's last card, with David Morrell headlining. Martinez was supposed to fight Angelino Cordoba, an unbeaten fighter. But Martinez's visa issues, like, he's fought in America plenty times. I mean, what do the American government think he's going to do? Like, become an asylum seeker? No, he's going over there to work. Doesn't make sense. But look, he hasn't been that active. The fight's cancelled. The other champion is the WBA's Artem Delakian, and he's been a champion since 2018. But unless he was unified with Martinez, and the Ring magazine were deciding which fight would they prefer to be for the Ring title, there's absolutely no reason why Bam and Sonny is not for the Ring magazine title. There's no rebuttal that makes any sense against that. And Eddie shouldn't have to beg them to recognize the fight for the belt. It's a unification. Sonny, the IBF champion, Bam, the WBO champion. But they don't want no part of it. You know what I mean? They've probably got their own half-baked theories why they won't recognise the fight for the Ring Magazine title, but that's their business. Both champions are weighed in, 111.6 apiece. It's a really good card. We got Rocco Santomaro, who's got a good record, versus Galal Yafai. America versus UK. Gordy Russ versus Junaid Boston, both unbeaten. Both got high knockout percentages. I've seen Boston before. A lot of smack talk between the two. Same with Peter McGrail and Jericho O'Quinn. Britain versus US. And that's the same with Edwards versus Bam. Britain versus US. So some good matchmaking there. And it should be a decent card. I'll be keeping score between the Brits and the Americans. I'll be keeping score. The Saudis, no expense spared. Massive production. With the horror-themed Day of Reckoning promo. See Joseph Parker's head spinning around on his body. Otto Wallin dragging someone around on his foot and punching him in his face. Deontay Wilder and Frank Warren in the van knocking someone over. Anthony Joshua punching someone out. Filip Hrgovic putting his eye inside his head. Eddie flicking his cigar ash in somebody's head embedded in the table. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Dimitri Bivol, he was up in it. 23rd of December, 2024, Riyadh season, live on the Zone pay-per-view. Some people may say it's a little over the top, but it's better than that, than some unproduced, unpromoted shit.
Will you have an involvement in the Joshua Wilder fight if it does take place in March?
Yeah, of course it will be. Queensberry will be promoting it with Seller and obviously in association with the other parties.
Wow.
So Frank will be co-promoting Wilder versus Joshua, providing they get past their opponents next week, even though neither of them is a Queensberry fighter. Wilder's a free agent, so you could say he's more representing Wilder more than Anthony Joshua. But that's interesting. Al Heyman, he'll be observing what's going on. He's going to have to start that Prime venture without Deontay Wilder, without Frank Sanchez. Although Frank Sanchez, like I said, could be back sooner than Deontay. You know, he'll be studying. Top Rank, they'll be studying what's going on. Like, neither of them have a piece of the broadcasting deal of Day of Reckoning, Top Rank, PBC. It was thought that the Zone were going to have exclusive broadcasting rights, but no, TNT will also split the broadcasting in the UK. And it will not be Matchroom, as far as I know, broadcasting on the Zone. I believe it will be TNT, but just on the Zone. Yeah. That's what I believe. I see Anthony Joshua having an interview on TNT with Laura Woods, who's defected from DAZN to TNT. So the whole game is turned on its head right now. So, you know, we've seen a lot of things change this year. Like this side of the street politics, as far as broadcasters are concerned, that's dead. The Saudis have killed that off. And Al Heyman cannot go over to Prime with that boxing model. He just can't do it. It's impossible. And the whole notion that, oh no, we're not having our fighters fight on an app, that's dead. Especially with Al Heyman's new situation with Amazon Prime. Elephant in the room. Incoming.
12 by 3 minute rounds. Amanda just vacated her WBC belt. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
I think Amanda's doing the most. I think she had this attention on the first girl to do this. Who gives a fuck? We don't care. If you don't want the WBC belt, see you later. The 3 minute thing, it has to make sense. For one, not all women I want to see fight 3 minutes because it's going to be boring, and that's just keeping it 100.
Slap you with the truth from this microphone.
I think a lot of people, not just men, but people generally be glad that a woman boxer actually said it, because that has been the elephant in the room for a long time. Lou DiBella brought it up when they were talking about 3 minute rounds for women's boxing, and he just came out and said, and this was when he was promoting women's boxing, I'm paraphrasing, but he said a lot of people just don't want to sit through 10 or 12 3-minute rounds of women's boxing. You know, it was the other month. I can't remember what the fights were or what card it was. It was a Matchroom card. And they had 2 consecutive women's fights. And by the time the second one was in motion, it was like, oh Lord, the energy just drained away from the card. You know, I don't hate women's boxing. By extending the duration, we'll be just testing the attention deficit to women's boxing to its extremes. It might just end up being counterproductive for women's boxing. That's what it might end up being. You know, the gene pool just isn't there. I mean, the 12 threes that Amanda did the other month, it was a good performance by Amanda, but her opponent just was so safety first. I didn't mind the fight, but I could just picture a lot of people like, 12 threes of this? Why? So what next? If the men at world title level decide to go 15 threes, they're going to follow that as well? Women don't have to follow everything men do. Just need to chill with that.